Her desk hid a story of war no one dared imagine. For 14 months, the personnel at Fort Campbell had treated civilian contractor Emily Keyes, Washington, like another administrative assistant struggling to adapt to military office procedures. Content with assuming she was fresh from secretarial school because she kept her head down during briefings and never participated in the war stories that separated veterans from civilian employees who had never heard hostile fire. They witnessed her methodical approach to typing classified reports and assumed she lacked understanding of military operations, saw her quiet efficiency during document preparation after long days processing casualty notifications, and mistook professional composure for inexperience with combat realities that distinguished warriors from office workers who had never deployed overseas. What they couldn't see beneath her civilian business attire and regulation desk setup was a bronze star with V device locked in her bottom drawer, earned during her service as Staff Sergeant Emily Washington, 82nd Airborne medic whose actions during a Taliban ambush in Helmand Province had saved 7 soldiers while wounded and under direct enemy fire. Washington had accepted the civilian contractor position not because she couldn't handle military service, but because her medical discharge following traumatic brain injury from an IED blast had ended her Army career while leaving her with survivor's guilt from teammates who hadn't returned from that desert patrol where heroism meant staying conscious long enough to treat the wounded. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we reveal how America's most decorated warriors sometimes transition to civilian roles while carrying invisible wounds, their extraordinary combat achievements hidden behind routine duties, while their battle-tested experience remains dormant until discovery moments that shock entire military communities. Before we share this incredible story of hidden valor that transformed an entire base's understanding of civilian contractors, tell us in the comments about a time when you discovered someone's secret military service that completely changed your perspective of their character. And if you believe that our most courageous veterans often serve without recognition while processing experiences that exceed civilian comprehension, hit that subscribe button to support our mission of honoring those whose combat sacrifice continues protecting freedom through service that transcends uniform requirements. Fort Campbell operated as home of the 101st Airborne Division, where America's elite air assault forces prepared for global deployments, supported by civilian contractors whose administrative expertise enabled operational readiness through document processing and logistical coordination that maintained unit effectiveness during complex mission planning. Colonel Marcus Eagle Thompson managed base administrative operations with corporate efficiency that ensured paperwork and personnel records met the demanding standards of airborne units, whose mission success depended on precise documentation and flawless information management during high-stakes deployments. Washington, you've been handling typing duties and document preparation for over a year without expressing interest in positions that would utilize whatever background experience you gained before this contractor assignment. Are you satisfied with basic administrative work, or do you have goals for more challenging responsibilities within our support structure? Washington continued organizing casualty reports with attention to detail learned during actual combat, where precise medical documentation had meant survival for wounded soldiers during medevac operations that required accurate injury assessment and treatment records under hostile fire and tactical pressure. Colonel, administrative support enables operational success by ensuring accurate documentation and information security. These reports support mission planning and personnel accountability, and someone needs to ensure they meet classification standards that protect ongoing operations and family notification procedures. Sergeant First Class Mike Desk Rodriguez, recently assigned to administrative duties after combat deployment, couldn't understand why a civilian contractor would demonstrate such familiarity with military terminology and operational procedures that exceeded normal office training and contractor orientation programs. Washington, your document handling and military language suggests background that exceeds typical civilian contractor preparation. Most contractors need months to understand our procedures and classification requirements, but you adapted immediately to systems that require military experience. Washington's response reflected understanding gained from actual military service where administrative precision had supported combat operations, knowing that her Army background provided operational context that enhanced document accuracy while maintaining security protocols that protected deployed personnel and classified mission information. Rodriguez, successful military operations depend on comprehensive support systems that enable combat units to focus on tactical objectives. Whether you're processing casualty notifications or maintaining personnel records, your contribution serves operational requirements that demand accuracy and security consciousness. The curiosity intensified when base personnel noticed Washington's apparent familiarity with combat medical terminology and casualty processing procedures that exceeded civilian training, leading to speculation about her background and previous experience that might explain her efficient handling of sensitive military documentation. Captain Lisa Doc Martinez, whose own medical corps background included combat deployments, organized informal observations designed to assess whether Washington's apparent knowledge represented actual military experience or exceptional adaptation to contractor duties through superior preparation and professional development. Washington, your handling of medical reports and casualty documentation suggests familiarity with combat medical procedures and field treatment protocols. If your background includes healthcare experience, you should understand medical terminology that prepares contractors for working with military medical systems. Washington recognized the questioning as professional interest rather than interrogation, understanding that military personnel developed bonds based on shared service experience while maintaining natural curiosity about civilian contractors whose backgrounds couldn't be verified through normal military channels and professional networks. The workplace speculation escalated when contract supervisors began questioning Washington's apparent overqualification for basic typing duties, leading to discussions about her motivations for accepting employment that seemed inconsistent with her obvious competence and professional bearing around military personnel and classified materials. Contract Supervisor Janet Office Chun, whose responsibility for contractor management included ensuring appropriate job placement, joined speculation about Washington's background and reasons for accepting administrative work that appeared to significantly underutilize her apparent capabilities and professional experience. I've noticed Washington handles classified materials and military procedures with unusual competence for civilian contractor. Her familiarity with operational terminology and security protocols suggests background that exceeds normal contractor preparation, but she's never mentioned previous military or government experience during employment processing. The rumors spread throughout the administrative section, with personnel increasingly viewing Washington as mysteriously overqualified civilian whose apparent expertise raised questions about her actual background and reasons for accepting contractor work that seemed beneath her obvious capabilities. Administrative Chief Colonel Thompson, whose responsibility for contractor oversight had been complicated by Washington's apparent expertise, decided that direct inquiry might reveal information that would explain her unusual competence and help determine appropriate utilization of her apparent skills. Washington, I'm curious about your background and qualifications that prepared you for military contractor work. Your performance exceeds normal contractor capabilities, and your familiarity with our procedures suggests experience that might be better utilized in more advanced positions requiring specialized knowledge. Washington understood the implications of Colonel Thompson's inquiry, but chose not to reveal military service that would complicate her contractor status while potentially triggering medical evaluations and disability assessments that could affect her employment and personal privacy regarding combat injuries. The discovery that would expose Washington's hidden identity began during routine office reorganization when personnel were required to clear desk contents for security inspection, including personal items that required verification to ensure no classified materials remained in unsecured storage areas. The process included comprehensive desk searches that examined every drawer and storage compartment, enabling security personnel to identify potential security violations while ensuring compliance with regulations governing classified material handling and personal property restrictions in secure facilities. Security Specialist Staff Sergeant Robert Check Davis was conducting Washington's desk inspection when her bottom drawer required forced opening after lock mechanism malfunction, revealing personal items that included military documentation and awards that immediately attracted attention and raised questions about her actual background. Ma'am, Your desk drawer contains what appears to be military awards and documentation that requires verification. These items include Bronze Star medal and military records that suggest active duty service. But your contractor file shows no military background or veteran status information. Washington realized that equipment malfunction had exposed military service record that she had been concealing for professional reasons. Understanding that her combat awards would trigger questions about her transition to civilian contractor status and potential medical issues that had ended her military career. The Bronze Star with V device that Staff Sergeant Davis discovered represented one of America's highest combat decorations, awarded for heroic achievement during enemy contact and recognizable to any military personnel familiar with combat awards and their significance for understanding a service member's operational experience. Colonel Thompson, summoned to examine the discovered military awards, immediately recognized the Bronze Star's significance as decoration awarded for combat heroism. Understanding that Washington's contractor file had somehow failed to document extensive military service and combat experience that exceeded most base personnel. Staff Sergeant Davis, secure these items and request immediate verification of this contractor's military service record. Bronze Star with Combat V indicates significant combat experience and heroic action under fire. We need to understand why this information wasn't included in her contractor documentation. The verification process that followed revealed Washington's actual military service record as decorated Army medic whose combat deployment in Afghanistan had resulted in Bronze Star Award for extraordinary heroism while treating wounded soldiers during Taliban ambush that had lasted over 4 hours. Colonel Thompson, reviewing Washington's classified military records and combat citation, realized that his administrative section had unknowingly employed a decorated combat veteran whose medical expertise and military experience exceeded most base personnel and many active duty soldiers. Ms. Washington, your military service record shows Bronze Star Award for combat heroism during medical operations under enemy fire. Your contractor file failed to document 8 years of Army service and combat deployment that resulted in medical discharge following traumatic brain injury. Washington's response reflected the discretion of someone whose combat experience had prepared her for recognition while maintaining privacy about medical issues that had forced transition from military service to civilian employment within supportive military environment. Colonel, my Army service included medical operations and combat deployment in Afghanistan. When the contractor position became available, my military experience provided relevant background for administrative duties while allowing continued service to military community in civilian capacity. The investigation that followed Washington's recognition revealed the administrative error that had failed to document her veteran status, while her combat record explained her exceptional performance and familiarity with military procedures that had exceeded normal contractor capabilities. Medical Corps Captain Martinez, whose own combat experience included casualty treatment under fire, approached Washington with obvious professional respect for combat medical service that represented the highest traditions of military medicine and battlefield heroism. Emily, your Bronze Star citation describes medical actions that saved multiple lives during sustained enemy contact. Your transition to civilian contractor while maintaining service to military community demonstrates continued dedication that honors your combat medical background. The ceremony that followed Washington's recognition became teaching moment for entire base, demonstrating how decorated combat veterans sometimes served in civilian roles while contributing military experience that enhanced operational effectiveness through unique understanding of combat requirements and military culture. Ms. Washington represents the kind of combat experience that defines military medical excellence. Colonel Thompson announced during base formation that acknowledged her combat service and administrative contribution. Her Bronze Star Award and continued service demonstrate heroism and professionalism that inspire everyone working in military support roles. The medical assistance program that Washington agreed to establish became legacy that enhanced base healthcare coordination while providing her with meaningful service that honored her combat medical background by ensuring personnel receive care that could prevent casualties during training and deployment preparation. Her combat-tested medical expertise transformed base emergency response procedures while creating educational opportunities that prepared personnel for medical situations where her battle-proven techniques could prove critical during actual emergencies and combat deployments. Administrative Supervisor Colonel Thompson, realizing that his assessment of Washington's potential had been based on incomplete information about her military service and combat experience, approached her with obvious professional respect and appreciation for capabilities he had failed to fully recognize. "Emily, I owe you a formal apology for not recognizing your military service and combat experience. Your Bronze Star decoration and medical expertise explain everything I didn't understand about your administrative competence and professional bearing. You were bringing classified operational knowledge to our section while maintaining the professionalism that characterizes decorated veterans." Washington used her recognition to establish veteran support programs that combined combat experience with contractor insights, creating assistance opportunities that help transitioning veterans find meaningful civilian employment within military communities while processing service experiences and medical challenges. The most important lesson from today's discovery, Washington explained during veteran transition seminars that became standard throughout Fort Campbell, is that combat experience provides perspective and capabilities that continue serving military community in civilian roles. Whether you're treating wounded soldiers or processing casualty reports, service continues beyond uniform requirements and military status. The contractor assignment had provided Washington with opportunity to serve while processing combat trauma and medical issues that had challenged her limits, demonstrating that exceptional veterans could contribute effectively in civilian roles while maintaining capabilities that exceeded normal employment requirements. Years later, when Washington returned to federal employment while maintaining her contractor expertise, her story continued inspiring military personnel who understood that true service excellence often belonged to veterans whose combat achievements exceeded their current assignments and employment status. Her example reminded everyone that at Fort Campbell, as in all military installations, the most critical experience often belonged to personnel whose combat service had been earned through actions where heroism meant saving lives under fire rather than seeking recognition or career advancement opportunities. The moment when her Bronze Star was discovered in that desk drawer had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, demonstrating that true combat excellence often remained hidden until circumstances revealed decorations that transformed understanding of service dedication and heroic sacrifice under enemy fire. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone's quiet civilian service concealed extraordinary combat decorations that completely changed your understanding of their military sacrifice and continued dedication? Have you worked alongside veterans whose combat awards remained hidden while they served in positions that seemed inconsistent with their decorated service? Tell us in the comments about moments when hidden military decorations were revealed and transformed your perspective on someone's combat experience and continued service to military community. And if you believe that our most decorated veterans often serve without recognition while processing experiences that exceed civilian comprehension, hit that subscribe button to support our channel's mission of honoring those whose combat courage continues protecting freedom through service that transcends uniform requirements. Nobody questions Washington's dedication anymore. Not after seeing the Bronze Star with V device that revealed extraordinary heroism in Afghanistan, where her medical actions under fire saved 7 soldiers and earned one of America's highest combat decorations.